Priorities. What do you want? What you thinking, sis? Sir? They, them.
I can't wait till you come over. I'm not sober, so you know how it's about to go. 'Cause I like to fuck when I'm drunk. I like to suck when
My teeth look white. Okay, but what's up, y'all? If you are a returner, you already know the deal. It's Niyah. And if you are new here, what's up? I'm basically the big sister you've always wanted and never had. What's up? I give you good advice. I give you good tips. I tell you when you're fucking up, when you don't really know you want to be told you're fucking up, but I still do. Yeah, that's me. Hey. So I'm gonna hop straight into this video because this is a topic that I literally needed. So pay attention, especially if you're over 18 and you have the ability to move out of your parents' house, whatever, wherever you're staying. If you have the ability to move out, this is a video that you need to be watching, okay? What the hell up? Close my fucking door.
Yeah, the big sister they've always wanted.
Big sis they've always wanted.
But I got
her. Like, bro, but I swear, I'll take the responsibility of all your big sisters because she crazy and I be helping her, so. Anyways, okay, so today's video is a couple things I wish I knew before moving in and getting my new apartment because I did not know anything. Again, I'm into this all the time. I got kicked out 2020, didn't know what I was doing, signed into a lease, got my own apartment, I had some roommates, and so I know a little bit about this topic. Yeah, let's just hop into it because there's a lot of things I promise you probably did not already know or didn't consider. So the first thing I want to talk about is location. First thing you need to know is location affects the price. So no matter where you want to go, if you want something like, oh, bougie, luxury, expect that price to be, you feel me? Like you get what you pay for, like especially in the home industry, because even if it looks pretty on the outside, there could be some internal problems, and that's why it's so cheap. So that's something you hell have to consider. So within that location, you also have to consider commute. So how long it's going to take you to get to the places you need to go to. So for instance, work, school, the grocery store, any of that. Even your friend's house, frequent places. My first apartment, I was like 45 minutes to an hour from all of my friends. Like, and I didn't have a car, so a bitch was lonely. So literally take that into consideration. Also, another big factor to location is your safety, because we all know we're all looking for a budget. We're all looking for something nice, but still, you know, good on our wallets. So you also have to consider your safety because, again, certain things are cheaper for certain reasons. So your safety is a big part, especially if you're young and alone. As a young woman, I take my safety so seriously. I do not like any place that I go to, I'm always checking like the surroundings, history on the surroundings, like all that. Like, you're not gonna catch me in no apartment where there's frequent fucking sexual assaults, like shit like that. Like, no. Or frequent break-ins or shit like no. And again, that also ties homeless people. Homeless people are everywhere, trust me, but there are certain locations where there's more homeless people. So again, homeless people tend to, you know, break into things and, you know, break into even the trash cans and shit like that to eat food, stuff like that, you know? So that's definitely something that you want to consider, because you have to think like you're gonna be around that 24/7. So next we have finances, and the tip is do not get a place that you can't afford 3 times the rent. So let's say the rent each month is $1,000. You need to be bringing in at least $3,000 to be able to afford that apartment. Some places will not even approve you unless you're making 3 times more than the you know, rent each month. And also calculate utilities into these things. Like, trust me, you think that you could do these things and you're like, oh yeah, like I could live a little bit under my living standard. It's harder than you think. So definitely with your finances, plan to be making at least 3 times more income a month. So next in finances, you're gonna plan your bills and you're gonna budget. So you have to see, okay, so this is what I need each month. So I need money for bills. I need like needs and wants. So you're gonna definitely see the difference between that. You need to definitely assess what the difference is. But budget your bills as accurately as possible so you can see how much extra money you have a month for things you like to do and splurge on, like your hair, your nails, eyelashes, like upkeep, or even guys, haircuts, shoes, clothes, whatever you guys buy. If you smoke some schmeed, that too, that's a bill. for a lot of people. And also calculate the rebate. So this is a tip if you did not know this. So some apartments have leasing specials. So a leasing special basically is they're like, oh, get 1 month off if you sign your lease between here and here. So you can get your 1 month off, so you're only paying 11 months worth of rent, or you could calculate the rebate. And what that is basically, you basically take that number, divide it by your lease term, and subtract that amount by how much your rent is each month. So let's say your rent is $1,000 a month still, and then $1,000 divided by 12, let's say is, what the fuck? What's $1,000 divided by 12? So it's like 80 bucks, right? Okay, so with that $80, you're taking that off of your rent every month. So now your rent is $920 every month. So that can come in handy. Like for me and my first apartment, we had our first 6 weeks free. I wish we would have just rebated it. Like I wish I knew, so I would have suggested it. But rebate, take that into consideration, because that can change your overall rent price, and shoot, it can come in handy. Also in finances, this is a no-brainer, but you have to make sure that your credit is good. So usually they don't care about your credit with like other stuff. Like if you have fresh credit, like some places will still give you a lease. Some places will say that you need a cosigner. And basically a cosigner is someone who already has credit and like shown that they were responsible with their credit. And so basically they're taking responsibility for you and your apartment. Okay, so another tip I have is to save at least $10,000 before you move in, because after you move in, there's always like hidden like fees and stuff that you have to pay for that you didn't take into consideration, and you just got a new place. Like you're gonna be spending a little more money than you usually would. So I definitely would say at least $10,000 before you move into your first apartment, just to make sure you're secure, you're safe, and nothing will happen where you end up having to break your lease and homeless within the next couple months. You know, we're trying to be safe, responsible renters, you know, like we're trying to stay in our place for a while, babes. My last tip for finances is anything regarding money, like prices, rebates, like any deal specials, make sure you have it all in writing, and make sure you file it and save it. Especially like with these apartment people, they always try to say that they didn't say something. Especially if they said it verbally, they are going to say that they didn't say it to you. And you need to be able to be like, here, you said this right here. You know, and so you always want to cover your ass. You always want to cover your ass, especially when it comes to money, because when you move out, they'll be quick to not give you your deposit back, or be really like, you know, be wishy-washy, charge extra fees. Like, no. So the third thing to take into consideration is your commute. So do you have a car? Do you have to take a bus, a trolley, train, wherever to get to wherever you go, or even Uber again, if you do Uber frequently, that's another bill. I would even separate that into finances, because literally if you have to Uber, it's a bill. But you have to figure out how much it's going to cost you and how far it is away from your place, and determine if it's worth it. Because if you can't get anywhere, that's not a good place for you to have an apartment, because you're going to want to go places. It's going to get real lonely if you don't go places. And if you do have a vehicle, make sure that you also remember you have to pay for a spot at your place. You have to pay for a parking garage. You have to pay for a regular, like fucking like even shaded parking. Like you have to pay for all of that. You have to pay for your vehicle to even be on property. That can go in the bill category too. It could be extra bill. So literally take that into consideration, because that little $100-something could tip you over and you won't be eating for the next 2 weeks. So next part 4, we're gonna talk about the actual apartment, the most exciting freaking part, the part that we all want, you know? Like, so the first thing I'm gonna say is ask to tour your actual apartment before you apply for anything. Like say, I want to see which apartment would be mine if I apply for it, because they'll show you the showroom. They'll show you the pretty ass showroom, and then they'll give you the rinky-dink orange cabinets and white refrigerator. They'll do it to you. Trust, they will. So always, always, always ask to see the apartment that you will be living in. That is your right as a renter. Another tip I have is see if there's a washer and dryer. If it's not in the unit that you're touring, ask to see one with a washer and dryer. Ask if they can have one included, any of that, because if not, you need to see if there's one on the property. Because if not, having to go off property to wash your clothes is it's just an extra hassle that you're not going to want to deal with. If you can deal with it and it doesn't matter to you, then shoot, just ignore this tip. But me, I love to wash my clothes every single chance I get. Like, I can't wait. When I want to wash, I want to wash. And I've had an experience where I couldn't do that. And that's why I'm so strong on this tip. Like, do not, like, a washer and dryer is a must. Like, if it's not on the property, like, make sure you are in a good distance from a laundromat or something, because having to spend a shit ton of money just to go to the laundromat to wash your clothes, it's just an inconvenience that you can avoid if all possible. And honestly, it's not much more expensive to find an apartment with a washer and dryer. It's really not, or washer and dryer hookups. So if you have an apartment with washer and dryer hookups, you could rent a washer and dryer for like $30 to $60 a month. Priorities. What do you want? What you thinking, sis? Sir? They, them. Next thing, spray for bugs. Know any bug you see. Why am I so aggressive? Because I don't care about them bugs. Know anything and everything you see. If there's a light bulb that's out, note it, take a picture of it, tell somebody about it, because your apartment needs to be perfect the way that it needs to be perfect when you walk in, like, because they're gonna sell it to you as is. And if you don't say anything like, hey, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, my fucking shower is leaking, the fucking sink is leaking water under the fucking thing, there's a crack in my ceiling, like, I just saw a rat run by, like, I don't know, I hope there's not a rat in your place. But anything, and take a picture of it, because if they try to go to court, we got evidence. They not just because we young, dumb and broke, not all the way broke, but just because we young and maybe a little bit dumb, don't mean we all the way stupid. So take it to court. I got pictures. This is a legal binding contract, y'all. Like, people gonna try to say and do anything. Like, bro, like, we need to cover our butts. Like, make it a pleasurable rent leasing situation. You feel me? You also need apartment insurance, either monthly or yearly, and some places don't require it, but I always recommend getting it, because if anything happens to that apartment, it burns down, it floods, anything, your property is destroyed, the insurance will cover it. Simple. Like, just like with any other insurance, but apartment insurance is definitely important. My next tip, which is so freaking important, look at reviews on the place and listen. I'm gonna put some places that you could check apartment reviews, y'all. Look at the reviews and listen to them, because how they treat their tenants is how they're going to treat you. And also pay attention to how they treat you on your tour. Okay, but yeah, so how they treat people that are already living there is how they're going to treat you, even if it's in the past. Like, I look and see what management they have, and if they still have it based on their reviews. And I want to see if they changed managements recently. I want to see how often they change managements, because that also can tell you a lot about the property. The reviews are the highlights into what your leasing period is literally going to look like. Also, another tip, report your rent that you've paid to the credit bureau, and you can tell them to do that, because it's going to make it look extra good when you get your next apartment, or your next place, or your next house. So insider tip, you can do that, and it boosts your credit. Also, find a place where utilities are included. You will thank me later. It is so much less stressful being like, oh, rent's due on the 1st, the light bill's due on the 5th, the electric is due on the 6th, and yeah. When you can find a place that has, apartment and water and electric all included. That's the kind of place I'm looking for, shit. But if the utilities aren't included, what you can do is you go on the apartment website, and they will tell you, they'll have a list of all the water distributors, electricity distributors, and power, whatever else you need. They'll have a list of the companies that they work with, and I would suggest you pay for it with those companies, because you'll have less problems. Adding a third party to the agreement is even more hassle. Also, I would say check and see how many registered sex offenders are in your area or apartment building. So what you can do is you can go to this website, and it will tell you all of the registered sex offenders, their address, and everything like that, because sex offenders do have to register, and that's a huge consideration, especially if you're single, by yourself, and you're looking for somewhere safe. I would always recommend somewhere safe, and I would always recommend that you check that website, because I want all of you guys to be safe. Duh. And so my last tip for the apartments is beware of your roommates. I'm not saying don't get a roommate. I'm not saying that at all. If anything, I suggest get a roommate, because it makes your life 10 times easier. Shit's cheaper. Life is better. You feel safer, you know? But I say beware, because make sure you actually know who your roommate is. And realize that you're with that person 24/7. So when they don't want anybody to look at them, when they feel ugly, when they're sick, when they're fucking happy, when they're sad, when they're frustrated, when they're anything and everything, even constipated, you're there. You're their roommate. So regardless, their energy is going to affect your space and your energy regardless. I don't care what anybody says. It's the truth. It is the god awful truth. So I've been seeing a lot of TikToks where it's like, oh, don't move in with your friend, or don't move in with your friend or your best friend. It's gonna end up bad. You just have to determine how good of friends you guys are, truly, and how much you guys know each other, because you guys can disagree on a lot of things, even cleaning habits, y'all. Like, if they don't clean as much as you clean, or if they clean more than you clean, or just anything like that, or if they don't restock things that y'all both use, or if it's always a fight about money, or if they're not responsible with their money, everything and all of that affects you. So again, that's also something I would take into consideration. But I also want to do this video because I am also getting a new apartment this year. I'm not going to tell you guys when, because I have a lot of things that aren't like set in stone yet, so I don't want to like speak on it and then, you know, yeah. So I thought that would be a great video to look into, because who knows if I'll be myself, who knows if I'll have a roommate, nobody knows. But if you like this video, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on my post notifications, and tell me what video y'all want to see next. I literally love you guys so much. I hope you found these tips helpful, and I have plenty more, so comment down below if you want to see more.